on CMTV. Thank you for being faithful to your favorite channel, the CMTV, and to one of your favorite programs, Crossviews. And on today's program, we have, as usual, some gentlemen here who are going to analyze the topics here. And we want to say you are part of the program. First of all, I want to welcome Mr. Item Armstrong. You are highly welcome to Crossviews today.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. It's a privilege being once more on your panel with educated colleagues like Dr. My fellow
Pope Bertrand.
Mr. Pope Bertrand.
Thank you so very much. At this time, I want to welcome Pope Bertrand. You are welcome to Crossviews today.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I want to thank Dr. Busi. I want to thank Mr. Armstrong for coming here every other day out of our video schedules to be part of a national building and to look forward on how we can get Cameroon at the dream stage.
Dr. Busi, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Mwambo Williams. I want to use this opportunity to welcome my fellow co-panelists, Mr. Armstrong, the jurist, Mr. Pope, the engineer, and the faithful and very dreamful and very action-based CRM militant, Mr. Njomo Siri, who is waiting outside with a lot of humility, which I've never seen before. I want to also salute Mr. Mwambo Williams and all the management and the people behind the camera. Mr. Mwambo Williams, permit me say one or two things before we ride on, please, Mr. Moderator. Yesterday, Mr. Mwambo Williams, one of the lawyers of the separatist leaders, was picked up and put to prison by the gendarmes, Mr. Moderator, and about 80 barristers came out, and we thank God that he has been released. And that is why Barrister Chakunte wrote an order sometime writing to the Secretary General of the National Gendarmerie that lawyers in this country are being maltreated and are not respected. And we feel that we need the rule of law in our countries where lawyers can express themselves, because in our constitution there's freedom of movement, there's freedom of expression. And lastly, also, I want to talk on the baccalaureate that was written. And we were decrying issues of examination malpractices here. And some teachers still went ahead for examination leakages and examination malpractices. And I want to ask myself, what are some of the values that we are building for our country? So we really need to sit up. And we know of issues that are happening internationally. In America, Joe Biden will be running the presidential race in the Democrat Party with President Trump. And also recently we saw a crisis in Mali where the president of Mali, Boubacar Keïta, was removed and is in prison by the military and also the population of Mali. And ECOWAS is fighting for democracy in that country to see that the president can be released with immediate effect. I raise my case there.
Yes, thank you so very much. We shall be discussing that on our main topic. It's already there. But the first thing I want us to talk here, dear viewers and dear panelists, is on the aspect that is somehow difficult for the education family to get control of the decree signed by the Minister of Secondary Education, especially banning holiday classes. And so it has become so difficult. Maybe, dear panelists, you may have some suggestions on how this can be done. I want to begin with you. You are an educationist. You know, the minister signed a decree saying that all holiday classes should stop, but those who are in charge of maybe going around and seeing to it that this decree come to pass find it so difficult to make sure that these classes end. We still see children going for holiday classes.
Yes, Mr. Moderator, when I read through that article, I was not really quite satisfied, because I think that holiday is for children to rest too, but parents feel that during the holiday classes, children also learn some basic things. Now for me, she was reiterating on the issue of COVID-19 that is dreadful. And I asked myself, last time I talked about markets, our markets are still flooded, no physical and social distance. And I feel that holiday classes are necessary for our children and they can be controlled. She would have been looking for control mechanism rather than stopping children from holiday classes, because these are periods where children also relate with their peers, they learn one or two things, they keep their mind, they refresh their mind and keep their mind working, especially their working memory, because the working memory is very important to boost the memory of children. So I feel that the minister was so fast, and I think that the minister would have observed the holiday classes first and see if they were not respecting social or physical distance before she would have come out with such arithmetic. But I want to say that children still need these holiday classes to refresh their mind.
Mr. Item Armstrong, if you look at it so very well, does it make sense when maybe some decrees are given out and there is no follow-up and it is not respected? Does it make the government or the degree passer to look responsible?
Normally, the force of the law lies behind the enforcement.
Yeah.
Once a decree or a law has been passed and it is not fully enforced, automatically it defeats its very purpose of being a law, and it is better saying that it is not. It was just an ordinary statement. Let me say it is obvious that coronavirus is still in existence, and the government that is on its knee begging Cameroonians to really take all protective measures to protect themselves from this deadly disease is still up to say that they have not yet called for school resumption. The main classes that were called up were those examination classes to come and sit for the academic year. So if perhaps some schools are organizing classes, it is good as in short, it is good as saying that some will reason it from the perspective that the government have completely removed the ban of schools to resume, and it might put the interest of our children at stake, because you know children are vulnerable, and the mere fact that some schools are so unreasonable and so, how can I put it, even when there was no corona, the hygienic conditions, the learning conditions and everything, they were really deplorable. You go to some schools, you see the environment everywhere, dust. In fact, it smells everywhere. I've been a teacher and I know what I'm talking about. So, therefore, it is necessary for the government to put a block for school resumption until the government feels that it is necessary for schools to resume fully. So, I think if the Secondary Education Buzz is coming out with this communique that no classes should be held by any school. Anybody caught holding classes will be taken to court and will be sentenced. Is a call for concern, and I don't condemn such actions because they are geared towards building. They are geared towards, even though our children need these classes to reinforce, because they have really lost a lot throughout these 3 months. But I wish that appropriate measures should be put in place for their protection first before those classes come.
Please permit me come in, Mr. Moderator. I'm an educationist, but I feel that COVID-19 is dreadful, but we are right. But I'll differ a bit with my learned panelists. Why is it that bars and restaurants and nightclubs are open? Are we saying that bars and restaurants and nightclubs are more important than the educational sector? I say no. Mr. Moderator, we are talking of COVID-19. And we know of situations in this country that the effectiveness of following the measures of the prime ministers were not respected before school started, because they were talking of school resumption. And they said they were to spread most schools. How many schools were even spread? So the blame game is not only the population. At times also I blame the government for not doing follow-ups, because follow-ups are very important. What we are saying is that holiday classes are necessary for children to an extent, because holiday classes is not through the 3 months holiday. It's just about 1 month. And I feel that the regional delegates are there in all the regions. the divisional delegates are there, they could monitor the holiday classes to see whether children are respecting the social and the physical distance, rather than stopping school for a whole holiday. And when children are not busy, they engage into a lot of deviant behavior. We have seen a situation where children have been raped. We have seen situations where children are actually to school drop out even. Because when children are busy, they build their mind, they build their cognition, they build skills. So I feel that children, with those holidays for children to rest, part of the holiday can be used for holiday classes, while government officials monitor the holiday classes to see that, and school officials to see that they are effective.
Mr. Pope Bertrand, what's your take about the decree being signed and sent out, but there's no proper follow-up, and you know, it makes the whole system look very funny?
At times, I question the capability of our administrators, our ministers, our senators, and the rest, because most of us are talking about the educational sector. What about the sports sector? The similar thing was slapped on it. Holiday class is not compulsory. It is meant for slow learners. And the way the government operates, it arises a lot of questions and tensions in me, because you will let go of up license, you let go of gatherings, people are organizing marriages, there's no control, nightclubs. Come to think of it. Now let me mirror to the football sector, which it has been partially managed by the Western world, of which we all enjoy sitting back home, relaxing, watching Champions League. These are some of the things, like the doctor was saying, that keep our youth composed, away from destructive and malpractices, away from girl-child assaults. So what I think is, I don't know the concept from which such a communique, I don't call it a decree yet, the concept from which such communique was derived. Is it from the 8 pure regions or from the 2 suffering regions? Because our children have been home for donkey years. I thought that, to my view or take, that this is a point that we encourage a child through holiday classes. Then we see the chemistry that the parents and the children are putting forward, and they will remind them at the end of this holiday classes that brave the odds, go to school no matter what. Let me give a simple scenario. I'm not boasting or promoting another school. I was in Catholic University when this crisis started. There was a policy created by Father George Keze. It was called in-campus schooling. It will be very embarrassing, but I take the glory that I slept in school for 2 days and I attended my lecture without bathing. But where am I? At the end of the year, I got my certificate as an engineer. It is praise to the steps we take. So I just think that the press release will be out there. What do we do? Cameroonians are bound to follow whatever comes out of their administrators. Okay,
Mr. Item, some people argue that they would have allowed these children to go to school, given that COVID-19 it is the old who are more vulnerable to it, so it doesn't cause any harm for the children to go to school. Because if you look at even the GC that is being written and the holiday classes that are ongoing, if you look at it, the children don't even put on the mask. If you look at no social distance or physical distance is respected. So they just believe that it is an illness for the old.
How can you say that? Social distance?
I think
it's not respected.
I will not argue much with the doctor and my learned panelists, but I would like to make it a point clear that Corona is an unknown enemy. Yeah. We don't know Corona, and I want to make it here categorically clear that children are vulnerable. You know, children don't reason the way elderly people reason. If you see elderly people sitting in bars, drinking, and you see them in some kind of area, at least they are mature. You know, they are going into danger with their eyes open. You know, when a child, that is why at one point when a child commits a crime, there are some kind of crimes that a child cannot be punished for, because at that point it is presumed that he doesn't yet have the intention to commit such a crime. Therefore, if you look at Corona, children, we know where he's a doctor, I mean he's a teacher, you know, even though at a higher level of education where children can compose themselves, but come to think of it, we are in a nursery school or in a primary school and children just go and are embracing each other and are jumping helter-skelter and one is having Corona. Automatically they carry the Corona to the house and give to the mother, give to the father, and automatically the whole place. And let me tell you, the government has come up with an order. The government has not yet withdrawn that statement that schools should resume. At one point, we should adhere to instructions and for the safety of the general interest. Okay. I don't know why the government is holding so close to the educational sector, but I know that they must have had a reason for that. And I would say that the coronavirus, as you said, is not a virus for the old. I think the World Health Organization has made it categorically clear to the world at large that it kills. I think a child of 9 months. Yeah, the child of 9. A child of I think it's 9 years. Yeah. It was reported recently that a child of 9 years suffered from Corona and passed away. Yeah. So it is not only the old who suffer from Corona. Corona is a pandemic that has affected the whole world and it will kill everybody who does not follow the orders. Okay. Please, permit me.
No, but you take too long, you explain your facts.
I understand. I listen. What I'm trying to say is that education is good, but when you are in your grave, you cannot study. It's better that you stay alive and study at the appropriate time. Okay. You are not too old to study. To be honest with you, I entered secondary school when I was older than, and within a short while I had my master's degree and I'm moving forward to do my doctorate degree. It is not because I was running too fast, it's because at least I was following the pace. We should give life a chance so that we can study better. Okay.
Let me first of all correct one thing Mr. Pope said. Holiday classes is not only for slow learners. Holiday classes is for all categories. All categories of learners. It can be persons with disability, persons with visual, children with high intelligence quotient, the gifted and talented, slow learners, and so on. Because the objective of holiday classes is to keep refreshing the mind of children to be focused and not to engage into deviant behaviors. And we have seen children who the neighborhood have spoiled them during holidays, neighborhood gangs, peer pressure, and so on, engaging to mal behaviors in their neighborhood. We are not refusing that COVID-19 is not dreadful. COVID-19 is very, very dreadful. We know about that. But what we are saying is that if we respect the measures that has been put in place by the Prime Minister and head of government, if institutions respect the measures that have been put by the Prime Minister and head of government, I feel that holiday classes is still very necessary for our children. I don't see why we should stop holiday classes at this point in time. The only issue is that children should respect social and physical distance. Children should have water in the school campuses. They should have savon, and the administrators should do follow-up. Children need holiday classes. I think that if we're not careful, we'll live with COVID-19 as part and parcel of, it will be part and parcel of our lifestyle. We'll live with COVID-19 as people are living with HIV/AIDS. The only thing is that we must have to be prudent. We just have to be careful. That's the only thing. So we cannot neglect our education. It is very, very important. We will not keep on postponing and saying that people can go to school at all age. But the truth is that we can monitor and respect the measures put by the government. And if we respect the measures, like in the University of Boya, we respected the measures put by the Prime Minister and head of government. That is why the Vice Chancellor, Professor Ngomu Horace Manga, ensured that all the kits were provided in the university. And we started with visual learning. And we came back with face-to-face learning. And we have finished our exams. We are finished with undergraduate and postgraduate exams. And children are even writing the GCE now. The only issue is that we should respect the measures. The issue is that we need individual responsibility. And it starts with us, the individual. If we respect the measures, and also we are able to also tell another person by use, be your neighbor's keeper. When your neighbor in the classroom is not putting the face mask, you inform your neighbor, and we can work as a team to solve this problem, because COVID-19 might live with us over a long period of time. The only issue is that we should respect the measures. Our daily. Why is it that nightclubs are open? Go to nightclubs to see how people dance, and they are sweating, and they are communicating, and they are drinking, and some are even fighting. Are you saying that in colleges and universities and in secondary or primary education, we have rules and regulations in school that bind schools?
Is it high time churches should be open?
But that's why we are still saying that if churches are open, if we are respecting all the measures, go to church. At times you see even the elders forcing people to put the face mask. If we have if we are responsible individually, you go to church, 5 people can sit with some distance. Okay. You cover your mouth very well. You cover your mouth, your nostrils very well. You'll be comfortable. You'll be fine. The issue is that Cameroonians, most Cameroonians, I will not lie, 90% of Cameroonians are not respecting the measures put by the Prime Minister and head of government.
Okay. Added to what you have to say, I just want to say we have a minute each to conclude this topic. So added to what you have to, I would like you to answer who should organize these classes, because you realize that it's difficult for the education family to manage this decree, because some classes are organized in some uncompleted buildings, in some villages where this education family don't even know where these classes are. So who should organize? Secondly, how they should monitor to make sure that this decree comes to pass. Okay, yeah, 1 minute.
Well, firstly, Mr. Moderator, for the sake of time, we have to summarize the period given to us to speak, so that we manage time properly.
Yeah.
I would like to say that before this decree was press released, there were public consultations. Let us just capitalize or speak in the air that is maybe due to or due not to.
Yeah.
So the minister or some journalists, some research journalists went on the street and tried to get the opinions of parents, and some of the parents said it is not because of COVID-19 nor the Anglophone crisis that holiday classes is meant for their children to rest. But some parents still argue that holiday class is not a period of 3 months, it's a period of holiday class is a period of 1 month. And if you keep these children home, if you keep them home, those parents who are willing to send them to those holiday classes will be forced to divert them and send them to the markets, which is still a
okay, but we are talking vis-a-vis the coronavirus.
Yes.
Yes.
So what I'm saying to end it all is, the holiday classes should be optional. Doc thought about the principles laid by the Prime Minister, head of government, which are all good. And to tell you that even as of now that the GC was going on, those measures were not followed. Now, let us come back. Probably the Minister of Secondary Education would have said that due to this case study that I carried out during the period of examination, children contracted the coronavirus. Yeah. So I'm forced to come in now with this decision. But we did not see such scenarios coming to play. So we are saying that probably it's been long that she has not come out to make a public statement.
What's your take about the organization of this class? Because anybody just organizes in private homes, in uncompleted buildings, and so on. So who should really organize such classes?
Consciousness. People organizing the classes could be forced to say that if you are organizing classes, be forced that we have 100 students for holiday classes, you have 100 face masks, you should station the savon.
Some people say only legal operational schools should organize holiday classes, because nowadays we just have maybe some people just organize.
When you talk about legal schools, we are trying to help Cameroonians who are suffering in some areas to see how they can be encouraged to go back to school.
Yeah.
Legal schools, boy, is a cold and is a serene environment. We will tell somebody from a Kindi to come to a legal.
We are talking. You want to talk of legal schools here? We believe that every subdivision, every area, every village nowadays should have at least 1-2 schools. But what we are saying here, we find a situation where anybody just wake up, organize classes anywhere, anytime on completed building. That's what we are saying.
That is not correct.
Okay, your 1 minute, please.
I wish to reiterate here that the class of people we are talking about are children. And I still go strongly to the point that children don't have they don't have that mind of ensuring whether they are safe or they are unsafe. All what they care is what pleases them. That is why the Bible went further to state clearly that foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child, but a rod of discipline will drive it far away from him. It therefore states that, it therefore insinuates that children from inception don't reason the way adults reason. Therefore, if these children who don't know the consequences of their acts are allowed to go and mingle with one another, the rate of corona might intensify within a short while. I am not refusing. The issue of the measures of the Prime Minister are necessary. But are we contradicting ourselves by saying that the order that the government is... How many government do we have? It's one government. If the very government is saying that no, there is no need for holiday classes, and the very government has put down measures, automatically the government is saying that the measures are good, but the withdrawing classes is more better. Okay. And then I want to say here that the teachers that we are talking of and the classes we are talking of, the various schools we are talking of, those are schools which are out for money. They don't care about the interests of the children. That is why some of them, they go to the extent of taking teachers who are unlearned to come and teach the children. And at times it reflects itself in the results. You see, the GCE results subsequently have been bizarre. Because why? Some of the schools, in short, the corona issues, the Anglophone issues, coupled with poor teachers, have come in to aggravate the issue of learning process. And then let me learn before, even the issue of the issue that, in fact, the issue where the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Naloba Yonga, said teachers should be paid, even during this period of corona, where classes were not holding. The schools refuse to pay teachers.
Nothing has been done.
I'm indirectly telling you that these are schools that are adamant to instructions from higher authorities. They will not respect, in as much as they enrich themselves. They don't care about the welfare of the children under their case.
Okay, what's your take about nowadays we see even children, nursery school children going for holiday classes?
Yeah, at times some parents just feel that they have engaged themselves in various activities. That they feel the campus is a place, it's a home. Yeah, it's a dumping ground where you, in short, how can we call it? It's a home for nannies, home care. They even call it daycare. Where you go and keep your children and you go to work, even if it is free, it's not holiday. At any moment, you might feel that during Christmas, some parents might even want to go and keep their children there to go and swim in the swimming pool. I'm honest here on this platform. Therefore, the issue with parents is that at one point, some parents want to be free. They don't want responsibilities.
Okay.
Why some want responsibility? But let's be honest, education is necessary for a better society. But life is better for a better, that is for learning process to occur. Therefore, life should be paramount before education.
Yeah, 1 minute, please.
1 minute, please. You give 1 minute to everybody, Mr. Moderator.
Yes, that's why I'm giving you 1 minute also.
Okay. You are chopping my own time. Allow me to talk. Mr. Mambo Williams, I want to say that schools are not functioning in isolation. There is no school that functions in isolation. That's why Frobet, one child educator called Frobet said children at the ages from 0 to 2, he was the father of kindergarten. And according to him, nursery schools are not places where children go to only to learn how to read and write. It's a place where children gain recreational skills. It is a place where children gain socialization skills. It is a place where children gain all kinds of skills, moral skills. And let me tell you, there are children whom they do not know how to remove their dresses and urinate. But the nursery school guide them to urinate. But what we are saying is that schools are not existing like an island. Their parents, their counselors, their discipline masters, their administrators, their students, and their teachers. So each and every one must guide the child.
That is school community relationship.
Education comes from the word educate. You have to bring out, you have to train the children. They are there to support the children, to guide the children, to scaffold the children. Meaning that some of these parents, during holiday class, some of the parents, when it's before 12 o'clock, you should always station yourself at the school campus, observing what is going on, to cater for your child, to bring back your child back home for security reasons. The school administrators, they should follow up the children, the social distance, the physical distance. So I want to end by saying that only authorized schools that are legalized should be organizing holiday classes. But I'm not disrespecting the order of the Minister of Secondary Education. I'm a political analyst. I see my own things in my own perspective, the way I analyze.
Okay, dear viewers, we want to say we'll be getting to the next topic, which is the Anglophone crisis. Here we have